Hello, my name is Tim, my company is Sports and Touring, and we are Jaguar F-Type specialists. Now, specialising means not only that we know these cars as much as we love them, but it also means that from time to time we are contacted by people who have an F-Type they wish to sell, which is of an exquisite nature. Perhaps it might be incredibly high specification, perhaps it might be a special vehicle operations bespoke build, or perhaps it might be a car with incredibly low mileage coupled with unbelievably brilliant specification, as it is here. This beautiful V8 has done fewer than 5,000 miles. The specification is fabulous in every respect. The way that this car was put together and ordered from the factory is very clever indeed. Dark sapphire paint, chrome pack, gyrodyne wheels in Jaguar technical grey with diamond turned faces, a beautiful jet leather cockpit with red contrast stitching. It adds up to a feast for the eyes, and I am very excited indeed to have this car in stock and to show you around. This is such a brilliant looking thing. And of course it is a V8R, we can see from the badge there. And the fact that it's a 66 plate car, and of course the positioning of the bonnet vents, tells us that this is an all-wheel drive F-Type with 550 horsepower. Blistering performance, incredible agility thanks to that intelligent all-wheel drive system which fundamentally sends power to the back axle, which is where you might argue it should be going on a sports car, but then as the sensors and computers determine that power can usefully go to the front for agility and stability and grip and performance, power is indeed sent to those front wheels to assist in cornering and straight line acceleration and all of those things. It is the most exotic and exquisite thing to drive. And then we come to this example, and as I say, the specification. These stunning gyrodyne wheels, diamond turned on the face, technical grey inside. The grey works so well with this gorgeous dark sapphire paint, also known as Loire Blue in Jaguar's paint catalogue. And then the chrome pack. It is a perfectly executed order form that arrives at a car like this emerging from the production line. Such a clever combination of things. And then of course we have all those little details that make the F-Type the visual spectacle it is. At the back, these beautiful bright quad tailpipes. We have the badges also in bright chrome there, the Jaguar Leaper on the deployable spoiler on the tailgate. As we come round, we've got, of course, the side skirts and front and rear splitters of the design pack. And the panoramic roof, which not only, of course, lets light flood into the cockpit for the occupants, but creates this beautiful visual spectacle of the A to B pillar, which flies up the side of the car there from front to back and punctuates the gloss black area of windows and panoramic roof down the spine of the vehicle. Such a wonderfully specified example. And then we come to the condition. This car is in the condition you would expect for a vehicle with its mileage. It looks as if it's months old, not years old. It has clearly been cherished and diligently maintained and cared for. That is obvious from every single body panel, every single detail as you move around the outside of the car. And it's the same story inside, which is where we're going next, to look inside the cockpit. We'll supply the car, of course, with 2 remote key fobs and the owner's book pack, but there's no need to have the key fob in your hand because one of the many extra cost options on this car is keyless entry and start. The little button on the door handle there tells me that if I press, the car has detected the key is nearby, it unlocks, the power fold mirrors move out into position. The puddle light illuminates under the door handle. I hope you can see the light on my fingers there. That is so that you miss the puddle beside the car as you get in and you don't get your feet wet. And then we open the door and look into this gorgeous cockpit. As you see, jet leather with red contrast stitching, and we'll begin perhaps a detailed inspection with the door card, which I hope you can observe is in perfect order, absolutely unblemished, just as it left the factory. This combination of contrast stitch is such a visually enticing thing and sits so beautifully with the blue car on the outside. We've got Meridian sound in this car. We've got the 14-way electric memory seats with adjustable lumbar support and adjustable side bolsters. Panning around, you can see the tread plate there is in perfect order. And coming to the seats, these gorgeous performance seats in jet leather with that stitching, and of course, as we know, the R logo embossed in the headrest, the mark of the R vehicles in Jaguar's F-Type range. Sitting down into the car, and the point I always make, and I will make it again, is that this is an environment which matches art and technology in equal measure. The beautiful sweeping curves, the curves over the instruments which echo the curve of the steering wheel, echoed again as we come to my favourite feature, which is this gorgeous grab handle that runs down the side of the centre console. It all adds up to an absolute feast for the eyes, but it's also a brilliantly well executed technical space in that all of the controls are logical and well laid out and easy to use. We'll look above us and you can see there this huge panoramic sunroof. The light floods in when you wish it to, and if it gets a little too warm, just pull the sliding cover over there and block out the sun. Between the two headrests there, we've got a handy stowage bin. Coming down from there, we find the armrest, the centre armrest, lift that up, and we've got the SD card for the navigation system, a USB socket to charge your phone, the auxiliary input for the stereo system, and the 12-volt socket there as well, which I hope you can see has still got its little clear plastic cover on from the factory. Moving forward, we have the twin cup holders with the little recess in the middle that takes one of those small drinks cans. And then to inspect further, we will fire up the supercharged V8, so my finger on the start button and my foot on the brake, and you can see the instrument binnacle runs its little self-test flying display. The centre air vent rises up into position. I should have turned the stereo down, of course. Let me do that now. And we listen to that beautiful rumble from the supercharged 5-litre power plant as it warms up, and in particular the catalytic converter warms up, and that is why we have the slightly higher RPM at the moment for a few seconds after startup to warm up the catalytic converter. Down here on the centre console then, we have some switches here for the Eco Stop Start Defeat, the spoiler deploy, useful to do that before you wash the car, of course, to make sure the area under the spoiler gets washed. The spoiler comes up at 70, goes down at 54 when you're driving, but you can also deploy it using that button. Then we've got traction control off. That is a very exciting button indeed. If you've got good hands and feet, you will have enormous fun with this car, particularly if you're lucky enough to go on a racetrack. And then we've got the switched active sports exhaust button, which opens those valves in the exhaust system and lets the exhaust gases flow through more freely and creates a more engaging, more dramatic and theatrical sound. Next to that, we have the electronic parking brake, which we can deploy like so, and which releases as you start to drive off. It takes care of itself as you drive away. No need to release the parking brake individually. Then over here we've got the on-off button and volume control for the media, and this gorgeous shift stick. It is such a well executed piece of design. The hand fits perfectly around it. There's a trigger on the front there, which you use to activate the shift stick and then go into drive, for example. And from drive mode, just flick it sideways into sports gearbox mode. And once you're in sports, you can move the gears up and down like so, using the shift stick like an old-fashioned gear lever, should you wish to do so. Park button on top of the shift stick there, so we can press that and put the gearbox into park. Then we come to the driving mode selector switch. This is one of the most important switches in the F-Type cockpit. At the moment we're in standard driving mode. We can go forward like so into rain, ice and snow mode. That calms the car down very considerably. The throttle map in particular is very much deadened, and the gearbox map is adjusted as well to make the car easier to drive on slippery surfaces such as snow and ice. Come back out of rain, ice and snow into standard or vanilla driving mode, and then we go into dynamic driving mode, or as I like to call it, tutti frutti driving mode. You can see that the instrument binnacle backlighting has turned red there to reflect that we are now in dynamic driving mode, and that means that the suspension, steering, gearbox and throttle map have all been adjusted to a sportier setting, a more dramatic and theatrical setting, and that makes the car really engaging to drive. And yet, surprisingly, still very comfortable. The suspension is still very forgiving of rough surfaces in dynamic mode. So if you're planning some touring holidays, you can cover mileage in dynamic mode in the F-Type. There are no issues with that at all. And also you'll notice in dynamic driving mode, the exhaust valves open up like so. Coming up here to the climate control system, and we've got dual zone climate in this car, so passenger selects temperature there, driver selects temperature here, and we have also the 3-stage electrically heated seats for passenger and driver like so. Auto climate, air conditioning, timed recirculation, there's the hazard light switch in the middle, and then we've got the front and rear demist, including the electric wires running through the front windscreen, which heat up and electrically demist the windscreen so effectively in cold weather. Moving from there up to the infotainment screen, and you can see it's a very crisp and clear display. We're on the home page here at the moment, and from here we can go to the media option. If I just turn the audio back on but keep it very quiet, you'll see that we have source selectable there, and we can choose between DAB, FM and AM radio, Bluetooth audio and the auxiliary input in the area there under the center armrest. If we go back to the home screen again, you'll see that clicking media at the moment we're on DAB, we've got various stations to select and so forth. Back to the home screen and Bluetooth telephony, of course, very crisp and clear, very easy to use in the F-Type, and no problem hearing the other party and being heard. Indeed, the microphone and speakers are all very good, and Bluetooth a very effective feature on these cars. In a way it isn't, I dare say, on some. Then we go to the climate page here, where we can direct the airflow around the cockpit as we wish, and we can synchronize the two temperatures as well. So if I tap that button, you'll see that both temperature selectors go to the driver's temperature selector, and they'll stay like that until the passenger's one is adjusted, when they split it apart again. Back to the home screen, and we have satellite navigation, of course. We can accept that warning, and you'll see, I hope, a nice big clear screen, very easy to program with your destination. The instructions it issues are very clear as well. I get great feedback about that system. And then we go back to the home screen, and we tap here to access the extra features, including in-control apps and valet. We can access the reversing camera, I'll come back to that in a moment, ambient lighting and dynamic eye, and we can turn the screen off like so. But if we go back to extra features and to dynamic eye, because at the moment we are in dynamic driving mode, this is where we can choose the factory setup where everything is in dynamic, or if, for example, I want the steering in comfort mode or normal mode, that defaults to my setup in dynamic eye. And then also from this screen we access the stopwatch with lap timer, the G meter and the pedal position indicator. I've squeezed some more brake on and off there, as you see, and there's a graph as well which you can refer to the last 2 minutes of pedal activity. And if you do a track day, your instructor, if you should have one, is likely to refer to this and talk to you about the way that you come on and off the power and brakes as you drive. Back to the home screen once more, and we'll just take a look at the reversing camera, which I hope you'll agree is incredibly clear, and you can see that we have the tram lines there which indicate where the car is going and where the rear tyres are going as well as you're manoeuvring. And I'll also mention that we're now able to fit CarPlay and Android systems in these cars at a small additional cost. We can do that in our workshop, and it gives you the CarPlay or Android screen there, retains the full functionality of the Jaguar system, and enables you to, for example, have your satellite navigation, Waze or Google Maps or whatever, there in the CarPlay presentation as you're driving, and kind of brings this system right up to date with the modern era. Coming across to the steering wheel, and you'll see we've got the left and right thumb clusters. So on the left hand side, the infotainment controls and the Bluetooth telephony button. Over on the right hand side, we've got the cruise control and active speed limiter, and the button for the heated steering wheel, another extra cost option. The heated steering wheel, so brilliant in cold weather. Your hands get toasty warm very swiftly after you've sat down in the car, and stay so, and it really is a lovely feature. If you've lived with it, you wouldn't want to live without it. The steering wheel itself, by the way, flat bottomed, another extra cost option, the flat bottomed leather R steering wheel. And either side of the steering column, of course, we've got the two stalks here, so the automatic headlamps on the left hand side, and on the right hand side the rain sensitive wipers. And there is an adjuster here to the left of the steering column which enables you to move it in and out and up and down like so, and that works with the memory seat system as well. And finally, if I position the camera carefully down here, you'll see that by my right knee we've got the boot release, the tailgate release, and the rear fog lights, and the dimmer control for the instrument binnacle there as well. And forgive me, I realise I didn't look at ambient lighting with you, so let's do that now. We'll go back to the extra features screen here and see that ambient lighting not available in dynamic mode, so I'll use the driving mode selector to come out of dynamic mode. But you can now see the red light there will change to blue as I select like so, and you can also vary the intensity of the ambient lighting inside the cockpit. Another extra cost feature in this beautiful car. And looking around, I trust you can see as well, everything is just in unbelievably brilliant condition. There are no marks, no blemishes, no indications that this isn't a brand new car. It really is the most astonishing find, and I'm so delighted to have it here. Okay, our next stop is in the boot in just a moment. In terms of specification, honestly, it might have been easier just to tell you what this car doesn't have, because it really is beautifully equipped. One of the features is the powered tailgate. So a tap on the remote fob or on the button on the tailgate itself, and the tailgate rises up like so on its powered rams and reveals this beautiful boot. Over 300 litres of space in here. It is designed with a shape that enables you to put a set of golf clubs in. It is a slightly unusual shape, of course, so if you are going to go touring, I would recommend either soft-sided bags, or treat yourself to a set of bespoke, custom-sized bags from someone like the wonderful Colin Sermon at Bag World. He'll make you, or other people will make you, a set of bags that not only fit and use the space up perfectly, but look brilliant as you're walking up the steps to your hotel. Also in here, we've got a little cubby hole under the boot floor there, where you can pop your driving bits and pieces perhaps. And there in the front corner, we have the inflation compressor, and tucked down there by the battery under this compartment here is the pot of gunk as well for the tyre inflation kit. And by the way, if you've got a garage, for example, with a restricted height, it is perfectly possible to program this tailgate to stop at an intermediate height and not to go full way up. We can explain to you how to do that. It's in the manual, of course, and very easy to do. And the tailgate, of course, again, then comes down on its powered rams like so. And we can come round to the passenger side of the car. We've got two-stage unlocking enabled. That's a security device, of course, but the key is in my pocket. So if I tap the button again there, you'll see the door unlock. And we can then take a look on the passenger side at this door card, which is immaculate. That's the only word for it. Likewise, the tread plate, dashboard, carpet and mat. And again, this gorgeous jet leather performance seat with the red contrast stitch and the embossed headrest, all in utterly perfect order. Okay, we have one more destination on our tour of this F-Type, and it is there, underneath the bonnet. And under this large bonnet, we find the V8 power plant, 5 litres capacity with the supercharger sitting on top and feeding the considerable volumes of air necessary to generate 550 PS, 550 horsepower more or less, and connected through the ZF gearbox, one of the very finest gearboxes in automotive engineering, to the all-wheel drive system. This powertrain drives this coupe from 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds and to a top speed of 186 miles per hour. Impressive as those numbers are, this is not a numbers car. The F-Type is an emotions car. It's about the connection you feel between your mind and your hands and your feet and your car and your journey. And whether you are going out for a pint of milk or touring the Alps or Pyrenees, the experience at the wheel of the F-Type is just utterly enthralling. I'm very privileged to drive these cars every single day, and I love every moment that I have doing that. I hope you can see under the bonnet here everything is in fabulous order. This car has been in storage, in fact, for its life, more or less, and we will be providing a very comprehensive service ready for handover. And I dare say it is ready either for someone to put on their driveway and enjoy and take places, or to grace a collection. If you are a collector who wants an exquisite example of the Jaguar F-Type in its V8R all-wheel drive form and in just the most wonderful specification, this is a car which would sit very comfortably in any collection of modern classic sports cars. And I will be thrilled to discover which route this car takes when it leaves us here at Sports and Touring. So thank you very much indeed for watching. It has been an enormous pleasure to show you this extraordinary F-Type. We're Sports and Touring, we're just outside Andover in Hampshire. We're open 7 days a week by appointment only. You're very welcome to telephone, email or WhatsApp us if you've got any questions about the car, or if you'd like to arrange to see it either in person or by video viewing. It'll be a pleasure to send you a link to the Google Drive. That's our online folder with higher resolution photos of the car which you can zoom in on, and PDF copies of important documents. If you've got a car to dispose of on your buying journey, we will give you frank and honest advice about the best way to achieve the maximum value with the minimum inconvenience. And if you would like to chat about finance, we can do that as well. We're authorised and regulated by the FCA, and we work with a really brilliant broker. Do please take a few moments to read our reviews in Auto Trader. I'm very proud indeed of the things that our previous customers say about us. And I'll close by saying thank you again. Feel free to like and subscribe to us here on YouTube, and we will look forward to hearing from you very soon. Contact details are coming next.